And welcome back into our next astronomy lesson. We are now going to do a little bit of a wrap up with a conclusion of some of the topics we talked about, and we're also going to use it as a launching point for our next beginning of topics that we need to discuss. So let's kind of think about what we've learned so far. Now, we've been presented with some new ideas that are kind of fascinating when we start thinking about the cosmic scale things. And some you might even say, hey, I'm pretty eager to learn more about it. Or maybe you might be feeling a little overwhelmed because there's just such a wide variety of things. Like, we're not just talking about planets. We're not just talking about stars. We're talking about all these different things in the cosmos. And, the number of new terminologies and ideas that have been introduced might just seem like a lot. Even if it isn't, it might just feel that way. However, when we start talking astronomy, it's a little bit like learning a new language. At first, it seems like there's a lot of different expressions and, terminologies that we have to learn, but you don't worry about trying to master them all, because as we kind of develop some of our familiarity with some of these terms and we develop practice working with some of the different things we need to know for astronomy, it's going to become much more comfortable. So with that in mind, let's start looking at the cosmic scale of things. Now, at this point, you might be feeling a little bit small in the grand scheme of the universe, and maybe even feeling significant. When we start talking about the cosmic scales of distance and time, our time is fleeting at best on this little speck of dust in the universe, and our actions to the universe at large are inconsequential. However, there's another way to kind of look at what we've learned when we start taking our first glimpses at the cosmos. And the way we can do this is we consider the history of the universe from the Big Bang, when the universe started, to today, and we can take that time and compress it all down for kind of an easy reference. And the way we'll do this is we'll look at it as if we took all the time and compressed it down into a single year. We call this a cosmic calendar. Now, on this scale, the Big Bang happened at the very first moment of January 1st. So, Happy New Year's, everybody. The universe is born. Whereas today, as in today's date, would be at the very last second of December 31st. So it's always going to be at that very end of the time scale. No matter what day, what year we are at, we're always going to be at the very tail end of things. And when you look at this cosmic calendar, you can see there's a lot of really cool things that are going on. However, when did events in the development of the universe happen in the cosmic year? So what are those big significant milestones? Well, our solar system, it formed around September 10th. And the oldest rocks that we can date on Earth kind of only go back to the third week in September. So if we are taking a look here at this visual, you can see in January, the Big Bang occurs here. In May, the Milky Way galaxy has formed. September is when our solar system forms, and life on Earth is starting to begin. October, we now have an oxygenated atmosphere because Earth's atmosphere wasn't always as oxygen-rich as it is today. In November, we have the first complex life form, so we're starting into multicellular things. And if we go into December, that's going to be the month that's going to be much more familiar with many of the things that we might know. So let's look at humanity's mark on the cosmic calendar. So here's December, and what that would look like. So you might say, okay, well, we've seen January through November. Where's the origin of human beings kind of fall during this cosmic calendar? Well, the answer turns out to be in the evening of December 31st. So we have actually not been in the cosmic scale things around for very long. In fact, the invention of the alphabet in its modern form that we know doesn't really occur until the 50th second of 11:59 p.m. on December 31st. So we're really coming down to the wire here. In fact, the beginnings of modern astronomy are a mere fraction of a second before the new year. So that just tells you how tiny humanity's presence is on the universe. Seen in a cosmic context, so we saw, we're coming down to a fraction of a second. The amount of time that we've actually had to where we can study stars and look at our success rate of being able to piece together all this different information in order to figure out the story of the cosmos is nothing short of remarkable. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this picture that we're looking at right now of our cosmic calendar is not yet completed. So our attempts to understand the universe are not complete. There's always new discoveries being made. There's always new things we're learning about the cosmos. And as new technologies and new ideas are made, this allows us to gather more and better data about the cosmos. And so because we can get more data, because we can get a better idea of how the cosmos interacts, how it's forming, our present picture of astronomy is very likely to undergo many different changes.